Hi, I'm Bradley DeVette, Chief Operations Officer at iExcel. I specialize in demand generation, sales, and scaling SaaS startups by building strong operational infrastructures. Over the past 3 years, I've helped scale a digital marketing agency, securing funding and implementing process that drives growth. I'm also an entrepreneur, an investor, and coach passionate about helping business optimize their operations. One of the biggest challenges SaaS, self-service solution companies face is early churn, losing customers within the first 30, 60, or 90 days. If you're struggling with this, don't worry. You are not alone. Today, I'll share 3 data-driven tactics to identify and fix early churn so you can boost retention and maximize revenue. So the first thing that you should really be thinking about when it comes to 30, 60, 90-day churn. We'll take 30 days first. In your first 30-day window, you need to understand what your activation funnel is. What's an activation funnel? An activation funnel is the initial steps that any user needs to take in order to be able to get to first value. In a product such as a CRM product, it might be the fact that they need to go through a process of connecting their email, importing a set of contacts, starting to organize those contacts into groups before they can actually then message them and get the first value from messaging their contacts in a way that they hadn't previously. That's one example for a CRM product. You can think of a similar 3 or 4 step activation funnel for other sorts of products. Understanding what that activation funnel is extremely important because it's going to give you the steps for what your email marketing needs to be and any other sort of messaging that you might be doing to your customers in their first 30 days. You want to focus on the first step with the initial emails you're sending out. So you hammer them with the first step and you continue to hammer them with that first step until they've done then that first step, and then they move on to the second step and they get messages about that second step, and you only talk to them about that second step until they've done that second step, and so on and so forth, right? Whether that's email or any other messaging tools that you might be using, that's what you want to focus on. So highly recommend that you think about that for the first 30 days for your activation funnel. You want to make sure that you've set up the right sort of onboarding content for your customers. What that means is a combination of live webinars so that you can do group bulk, right? Doesn't need to be one-to-one per se, but you can actually do in group, and you can answer live questions for people that need to jump on and actually, work through things a little bit more, and self-serve video onboarding content that allows for people to be able to move through that onboarding process more quickly. I think many of us have the experience of feeling like, this tour thing, I'm going to skip through that. I just want to play with this thing. That's fine. You can put the tours and things like that there. I don't think it hurts anything. But the thing that really helps people get through that learning process is definitely the content that is associated with onboarding. So I highly recommend that you utilize live and self-serve content to be able to help people get through that onboarding period for that 30 to 60, 90 days. For your final 60 to 90 days, the thing that you really need to focus on is you need to have the tooling in place to understand what behaviors people are taking in your product. If you can't understand those behaviors, you've got a problem. You need to talk with the dev team and you need to figure out how to make sure that you're doing that event tracking. When you have that event tracking, you can really understand what are they doing and what are they not doing, and you can start segmenting users into different groups. With that segmentation, you want to start nudging those different groups toward the types of activities within the product that are more of your super user or your advanced user type of activities using in-app messaging. Whether you're using Intercom or some other sort of in-app messaging tool, those tools are really going to drive users to discover the things that are those super rich features that are really your advanced features where people are going to find a lot more value. That's what I would be focusing on in that 60 to 90 day range and making sure people go through that. Depending upon on the customer, right? People learn and engage at different rates. If you've got those things set up, maybe they'll get through all of those things within the first 30 days. That's great. If that activation funnel is the basis for that, you want to get through that first and then move them on to the more advanced features. These tactics are things that I feel like people graduate through in order to actually get to those more advanced features. Some final thoughts for you. I think reducing early churn isn't about guesswork. It's about understanding the activation funnel, onboarding content, and the usage-based in-app messaging that I've just described. Implementing these data-driven tactics will increase retention, it's going to maximize lifetime value, and it's going to ultimately help you drive growth. If you're struggling with churn and need help refining your strategy, let's definitely connect. I can figure out a way to be able to help pretty much anyone who is using and trying to solve their churn problem for early customers.